It's November, and that means it's time to plant your tulips. We've got 3 gorgeous varieties in the November Willowherb box, along with some little dwarf iris and some garlic. If you've got your Willowherb November box, here are your 3 simple steps to get it all planted up. Step 1, dwarf iris or iris reticulata. You'll probably hear me calling them both of those things. These are the gorgeous little dwarf irises which pop up super early no matter how cold it is, although the thing that they really don't like is the winter wet, so you do need to be really careful to make sure that they don't sit in waterlogged soil. One thing that will help with that is by making what we call a gritty mix. So you want to mix together some bulb fibre and some horticultural grit with a proportion of about 2/3 to 1/3. Just mix it up in a bucket. Put your gritty mix into a container. I really like to do these in containers because in the very early spring, when there's not that much going on in the garden, it means that you can have them on display and they just look absolutely lovely and so cheerful. Leave about 5 centimetres or 2 inches at the top. Push your dwarf irises in, blunt end down, pointy end up. Then cover with another layer of your gritty mix. Put a layer of horticultural grit on the top of that. What that does is it suppresses weeds and when they do pop up it will keep water from splashing onto the leaves as well. Now you can of course put these tiny irises right at the front of your beds, or you can naturalise them in grass as well. Step 2 is your tulips. They will look great together in one pot. That will give you a vibrant mix of oranges and purples in April through May. I've got quite a big hole in the bottom of my pot, so I've just put a crock in the bottom. That's a bit of broken terracotta pot to stop the compost falling through. And then fill it with multi-purpose compost is really good for tulips. It's a bit more nutrient rich than bulb fibre and tulips can be quite hungry. Or you could use John Innes No. 2 mixed with some horticultural grit. I'm going to do these tulips in 2 layers. So I've left, what's that? About 25 centimetres, 10 or 11 inches space at the top. And then with the tulips, it doesn't massively matter which you put in which layer, but I've found with this mix, putting the ballerina in first works really well. So put ballerina tulips onto the compost, give them a little push to make sure they've got good contact. With tulips, you need to space them further apart than some of the other bulbs. That's just because when they come up, they have quite big leaves. So cover with some more compost. And then now we're about, 15-20 centimetres deep. Put your layer of Uncle Tom and Gavotta tulips in. Same thing, blunt side down, pointy end up. Give them a little bit of a push to make sure they've got good contact. Don't worry about positioning in relation to the layer underneath. They will always find a way through. Do make sure there's a nice amount of space in between the bulbs. Make sure they're not touching each other and not touching the sides of the pot either. Then fill with a final layer of compost, and you can put a layer of horticultural grit on the top of that as well. Now you can of course split them between more than one pot. You could put them in one really big pot in a single layer, and you can put them out in your beds as well in a nice sunny position. From November is pretty much fine for that. It's 15 to 20 centimetres deep, and just drop them in. If you do put them out in your beds, don't kind of dot them around or you get a bit of a lollipop effect through the garden. I'd put them in blocks of colour. Step 3 is your garlic. Now there are 2 main types of garlic. There's hard neck and soft neck. Soft neck is a little bit easier to grow. I think it tastes nicer, and when it dries the stems are quite easy to braid together. Hardneck can be a little bit more reliable in cold climates. This is a soft neck garlic, but it's one that's very well adapted to the UK climate, so I think it's the perfect garlic basically. Split the garlic bulb into individual cloves, and every single clove is going to grow into a whole new bulb of garlic. Now, the best place to plant your garlic is in raised beds if you have them. Don't worry if you don't, you can plant them into any kind of sunny bed or border, provided you try and keep it quite weed free, or you can plant garlic in containers. Plant each garlic clove about 15 centimetres apart with about 30 centimetres between rows. You can get them a little bit closer than that if you want to. Use a dibber or a hori-hori knife or just a finger, make a hole and just drop your garlic clove in, blunt side down, pointy side up. You can do the same thing into soil as long as the soil isn't too heavy, or into a container. Get quite a big container, like just a bucket. Make sure you've got some holes in the bottom so it will drain, and you may need to put them a little bit closer together in a container, but what you can do is if you fill it with multi-purpose compost, because that's quite fine and quite free draining, you can actually plant each clove a little bit deeper. With all of these, the iris, the tulips and the garlic, they like to be moist but not waterlogged, so only water them this time of year if they need it. Check them kind of every week or so, see if the compost is dry. If it has dried out a bit, give it a water, otherwise just leave them. You can order a November gardening box at willowherb.co.uk. Enjoy planting up your box, and I'll see you next month.